Disclosure information. I, the creator of this video, give permission to anyone to use this video for educational purposes. Also, I give you permission to spread the information in this video. And also, you can use this video for non-profit purposes. And I want you to spread the information as well as connect a link to this video to others. Thank you. Gang stalking targeted in America. Just the facts. Now, here's how gang stalking contradicts itself and makes itself reveal itself to the targeted individual. Well, first of all, the targeted individual started to notice the patterns through the street theater and how it constantly repeats itself. So the gang stalkers, they actually make their attack ineffective by constantly repeating the same pattern and the same pattern to the point it doesn't actually hurt the targeted individual anymore. It actually makes the targeted individual become numb to the street theater. So therefore, it makes the attack ineffective when they do it over and over and over again, to the point where even the targeted individual could anticipate it in advance and see it and already know, hey, it's not going to have no effect. Because here are the stages to how the targeted individual noticed the patterns. First, they notice it, and at first, it puts fear in them. And soon, a later while, after the constant repeating of the pattern, the targeted individual becomes numb to it. And now, this street theater or this psychological harassment has no effect on the targeted individual. And all they could do with this street harassment now is to annoy the targeted individual. So right now, it doesn't even put fear in those targeted individuals who've been targeted individuals for so long, and they've been attacked for so long that it has no effect on them anymore. It could just like once in a while annoy them and stuff, but it's not going to really put fear in them anymore, even when they increase the magnitude. So how gang stalking contradicts itself is it's a waste of government resources, because the ambulance and the police cars, they can show up to harass a targeted individual, but when people really need an ambulance or police, they usually take like 40 minutes, or you have to call them 2 times in order to come. But yet, to gang stalk or get involved in the street theater to harass a targeted individual, all of a sudden they're there more faster. So this is a waste of government resources, and also this is a waste of American tax dollars. These tax dollars are being used just to harass targeted individuals. And also another way it contradicts itself is the gang stalkers and the perpetrators will call you things like loser or stupid. But here's the funny thing about that: why would they do all this for a loser and a stupid person? Now, if you're naturally a loser, through your own devices, you would actually mess up yourself. You wouldn't need any help from the gang stalkers or the targeted individuals. So this only proves that the gang stalkers, those who coordinate and organize it, as well as those who participate in it on a perpetrator level, are the real stupid ones. Because if you're naturally a failure or loser, you will just fail on your own with no help. And also, it's a waste of your tax dollars. Yes, the American tax dollars. And also, another way how gang stalking contradicts itself is, how does agitating a targeted individual stops a threat? It doesn't stop a threat. It creates a threat. So this program is only meant to create threats, terrorists, and criminals by constantly agitating and harassing somebody to the point where they break or snap. Also, this gang stalking program, it puts the targeted individuals as well as the low-level perps and civilians in harm, because say if they get the targeted individual to snap, this targeted individual could snap and go violent on the perpetrators, whether it be the perpetrators who know or the perpetrators who just been paid and do not know the deeper level of the plan. And what about the civilians? What about if the targeted individual snaps and acts out on the civilian population? So these perpetrators and gang stalkers, they will be responsible for that. So that only proves that the perpetrators of gang stalking, they do not care. They do not care for the civilian population. They do not care for the perps, and they do not care for the targeted individuals. So these are people who are selfish and care for nobody. They just care about fulfilling their agenda. So anyone who's a perp, I want you to know right now that the people who pay you to conduct these gang stalking attacks, they do not care for you. Again, I repeat, they do not care. They do not care for you. Also, another way how gang stalking contradicts itself is when people ask you, why are you being involved in the gang stalking program? You're not famous. Well, here's the funny part about that. Why would they actually conduct gang stalking on a famous person? Remember, famous people have money to protect their credibility. Also, famous or rich people or well-known people, they have the ability to pay people to investigate and probably find out who's behind the gang stalking. The average targeted individual does not have this resource or this credibility. And also, what a lot of people got to take into consideration is that Dr. Delgado, who conducted mind control experiments, you can look him up on Google, Dr. Delgado, he did not conduct mind control experiments on celebrities. He conducted mind control experiments on regular people at a mental institution. These were regular people, not celebrities. So if you want to conduct this evil act on somebody, you would conduct it on somebody who's regular and who doesn't have credibility, or someone whose credibility they systematically destroyed. Also, when it comes to the spiritual aspect of gang stalking, a lot of targeted individuals, this comes into question because some targeted individuals interpret gang stalking as spiritual warfare, and other targeted individuals, they consider gang stalking an attack from the government and physical people. And then there are some people who consider gang stalking both a spiritual attack coming from like demons and all that, spiritual entities, as well as from the government together. Well, before I get to explain that in deeper details, here's what I'm going to tell you. Well, first of all, yes, the government have done experiments in the paranormal. The military, for example, you can look that up on the internet, Montauk program, or look at the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats. That was based on a true story. The government does have interest in paranormal activities. But is gang stalking really from demons and stuff like that? Well, honestly, to tell you, no. First of all, it's not coming from demons. It's not demons that are doing it. It's people with technology and resources that are so advanced or that we do not know of. It will make you think that you're being attacked by demons and spirits and stuff like that. Now, do the gang stalkers, yes, they use religious people. They use religious people to gang stalk and harass you. And these religious people will make you feel as if you're being attacked spiritually, or they'll trick you into thinking that you're the evil one, like you're a demon or something like that. And it's not just the religious people. It's also like the other perps who attack you. And also they have the technology like the dream manipulation and the sleep deprivation to wear out your mind and your spirit. So there is a spiritual aspect to the attack, but it's not coming from a spiritual source. It's coming from the government with technology to mimic a spiritual attack. I repeat. Now, is this satanic? Something called satanic mind control and satanic ritual abuse. Yes, but it's always physical abuse being done by people, and they have trauma-based mind control, which some people can interpret it as a spiritual attack, but it's a scientific method of breaking down a person. So at the end of the day, it's not coming from demons. Yes, it can be demonic, as in like, yes, people who are doing it are evil and they're doing evil, but is it coming from an actual demon and spiritual, fairies and goblins? No. Also, am I saying when it comes to the spiritual warfare aspect of gang stalking, I'm not telling anybody, hey, not to give up on spirituality in any shape or form. No, because me myself, I'm a spiritual person, a very spiritual person. I do believe in spirituality and stuff like that. But I know this gang stalking attack is coming from your government. It's being sponsored by your government. the technology is from your government. So this is an attempt to trick the targeted individual into believing that the attackers are your god. And one thing they will try to do is that if you're a religious or spiritual person, they will attack you to the point where you denounce your spirituality, like you would actually give up on your faith or your god. Or if you were not spiritual to begin with, they will try to make you spiritual, but in a false sense, where they would actually become your god and you'd only be spiritual on their terms, which would be a negative term. So while you're being attacked, you can get spiritual, but be aware of the fact that they could also try to manipulate your definitions of spirituality. Also, on the spiritual warfare aspect of gang stalking, it's the gang stalking attack is about redirecting your energy and your attention at the gang stalkers and the attack, as well as draining your energy and your attention. So basically, in the early stages of this attack, you will be constantly focused on this gang stalking attack. You will be confused, like you wouldn't know where it's coming from. So it's to confuse you, to make you think your environment is trying to attack you. In the early stages, this will spiritually test you and confuse you as well mentally. So it's about redirecting your energy and your attention, as well as draining it, because now you're so focused on it all the time. And even when you try to avoid the gang stalkers and the attack, they will follow you in order to attack you everywhere you go. So that's how it's about draining your energy as well as your attention, and you actually get stress from an artificial problem and scenarios which are not a part of your life, but it's trying to be a part of your life by constantly following you and surrounding you by it. So this fake reality is constantly following you for the sole purpose to drain your energy and your attention. So that's a spiritual war. Also, with the spiritual aspect of the gang stalking attack, this attack constantly presents the targeted individual with a false presentation of reality in order to coerce the targeted individual to alter his worldview, behavior, or give up their autonomy or their goals in life. But here's the funny part to it. They're lying to your mind in order to harm your soul. But the fact that you notice the patterns and realize this is not coincidence, and you're looking for information about this attack, mean that their attacks are not working. Yes, so they cannot fool you. The fact that you realize the patterns and you're looking for information about this attack in order to get rid of the effects of it or relief of the attacks. Also, with that, the gang stalking attack is trying to coerce you against your will to alter your worldview and your behavior, meaning that your behavior is how you act in reality, and your worldview is your attitude, which means what you think of the world and the reality. Before the gang stalking attack ever took full force, you had a nice, normal personality, which was normal to you. But after being attacked through this gang stalking attack on the spiritual aspect of it, now your worldview has changed. In the early stages of gang stalking, you did not understand the attack, and you probably thought this was your reality. But then you noticed the patterns and realized it's not coincidence. So there could be some damages to your worldview or attitude about the world and reality. But now you realize this is an attack, and you have the obligation to correct this. You must have to deprogram yourself. I'll explain that later in the solution aspect of the gang stalking attack. Also, with your behavior is how you act in reality. So now you might actually look behind your shoulder or behave in fear. And one thing about the gang stalking attack is that fear is the easiest control mechanism to control a person. I explained earlier about the guilt manipulation, the desire manipulation, the fear manipulation, and the distraction manipulation. Fear is the easiest form to control somebody. Remember, how you feel is how you think, and how you think is how you act, and how you act is the results you get in reality. And they're trying to put fear in you So if you feel fear, you will think fear, and in turn you will act in fear, and you'd only get the results in reality of a fearful person. So you have to correct yourself and realize this is an attack. This is not the real reality. This is just an artificial reality that the gang stalkers are presenting to you. That's why they have to know where you are all the time in order to present this false presentation of reality. Also, with the spiritual warfare aspect of gang stalking, when it comes to your autonomy, the gang stalkers want you to get rid of your autonomy. Your autonomy is your ability to act independently and take initiative in your life. Now, before the gang stalking attack took full force, most targeted individuals were most likely people who took initiative and took action to make things happen in their life. With this gang stalking attack on the spiritual aspect, this is meant to scare a targeted individual into not being autonomous. So now the targeted individual is afraid to take action. With that being said, once they have you given up your autonomy, what they could do, the gang stalkers, is present to you a false reality or false options to choose from. That's why I tell targeted individuals, if they try to trick you and try to make you accept their options, do not do that. Whatever you do, try to keep your autonomy. Be autonomous, be independent, take initiative. And that's why they attack you financially, because without your money, you can't really take any action like to move or to make changes in your life. That's why they attack you financially, and also they might covertly drug you to affect you physically. So now you're in a position where you might have to depend on somebody else or move back into your parents' house or someone else's house, because you used to be autonomous and independent. And also your goals in life. With that, a lot of targeted individuals, when it comes to their goals in life, if they completed their goals in life, the gang stalkers will try to scare you out of your life that you used to live. So now you could live like in squabbles, or they could even make you homeless, or they will make you scared to pursue your life goals if you were working on your life goals. And that's why they attack you at your workplace or your school. So that's the spiritual aspect of it. They want you to give up your autonomy and your goals in life so they could turn you into a psychological zombie in some state. Not like a zombie like in a real movie. I'm talking about like a zombie, like you become a person who doesn't really do nothing, and that's out of fear. Like they want you just to stay home all day and be afraid and be scared, but you're not gonna be autonomous and independent if you're in fear and you're doing nothing all day, just watching TV and doing nothing. That's what they want you to do. That's why do not be in fear. Be autonomous. Also, with the spiritual aspect of gang stalking, the gang stalkers will try to play God in your life by attacking every aspect of your life, similar to the story of God and Job. Like, I'm sure a lot of targeted individuals, if you're Christian or you're just aware of the Bible and some of the stories of it, you would know the story of God, Job, and the devil. So basically, the devil, he asks God if he could mess around with Job, and God said yes, just as long as you do not touch him. So the gang stalkers might do this gang stalking attack. It reminds me of that story in the Bible with Job, how the devil tortured him, but the devil did not touch him in any way, shape, or form. Now with the gang stalking, it's basically mostly psychological attacks, which means no touch torture. And then some targeted individuals get the directed energy weapons, which is basically being touched, but you cannot see the touching because it's done with directed energy weapons. The directed energy weapons do not make any noise, or they don't make a sound, well, only to the targeted individual. So this is basically the CIA no touch torture aspect of the gang stalking. It reminds you of the story of God and Job. Now, you don't have to be religious or spiritual, but I'm sure a lot of people heard of that story. Also, this gang stalking attack, it sort of reminds you of the devil, because a lot of religions, they call the devil Satan, whatever. They call him a liar and an accuser. So when the gang stalkers, they slander you, they basically accusing you of false things. And also, they call the devil a deceiver. and with the gang stalking attack, they're trying to deceive you with the street theater and also the psychological warfare. They're trying to deceive you with all these attacks and stuff. So now you don't have to be religious or spiritual, but just take that to account. That's what this gang stalking attacks remind me of. It reminds you of that story of Job, God, and the devil, and also it reminds you of the devil. How whether you believe in the devil or not, because the devil is a deceiver and a slanderer and an accuser, and the gang stalkers, they use smear campaigns, and the gang stalkers, they also deceive you, the targeted individual, as well as the people around the targeted individual. So with that being said, these gang stalkers are real evil, and they know what they're doing is evil. That's why they have to covertly attack you. So they know what they're doing is evil. It's intentional. No one didn't just wake up and say, "Oh, let's just attack this guy for no reason," or "We just happened to attack him for no reason." A coincidence. No, these gang stalkers know what they're doing intentionally. Also, with the spiritual aspect of the gang stalking attack, the evil tactics that the gang stalkers are using make you realize that these actual evil people do exist. Yes, there are people who do evil in the world. They really do exist. Like just the acts alone that the gang stalkers use, that the gang stalkers do. There were many evil things that they did. Like it's a long list. I could go on, but I'm sure a lot of targeted individuals know what I'm doing, know what I'm saying, because these people could be ruthless and relentless, and they do it constantly. It makes you realize that evil people do exist in the world, and these people are cowards, because the gang stalkers, they always work in groups or teams. The gang stalkers never work alone. And the fact that they're using the government and government resources too. So this is your government and your government resources, as well as the police and the firefighters are involved in it. So there are many people who are involved in the gang stalking attacks who in society's eyes could look like the good guys and superheroes, but really they're involved in this evil attack as well. Now with the firefighters and police, I'm sure everybody's okay, they're doing their job, protecting society and stuff, but secretly they're involved in this gang stalking attack. This is nothing new. Even back in the 80s, there were people who were gang stalking victims. Back in the 80s, the police were doing the same thing. So this was before 9/11. So you're trying to tell me that the police and the firefighters were doing this like even back in the 80s and not know why they're doing this? Remember, they fall under first responders, which is FEMA. So they're getting grant money when they do this, or any form of reimbursement from the state, whether it be federal government or state government. Also, with the gang stalking attack, they want to keep the targeted individual in constant fear in order to control the targeted individual, to put them in survival mode. This could make a targeted individual give up a long-term plan and make the targeted individual accept this false reality, which is fake, that they present to the targeted individual. Please, targeted individuals, do not do this. I repeat, do not accept a false reality. It's just a presentation, and they got to constantly know where you are in order to present it. This is a tactic I'm going to give you in order to break their perception, but later, not now. Now, solutions and relief for gang stalking. Yes, gang stalking can be stopped and it can be relieved, and there are solutions. Now, here's the thing about it. A lot of targeted individuals, based on the information, whether it be true information, misinformation, or disinformation, believe that gang stalking cannot be stopped. Yes, gang stalking is an international problem, but when you look at the origins, it started in Germany, and then it started in America, and then it went international once it was discovered in America, and through the Church Committee back in 1972. So yes, gang stalking can be stopped, and there are relief solutions. There are solutions that can be done on an individual level, a group level, and also on a government and legal level. A lot of targeted individuals think gang stalking cannot be stopped, but that is the trick right there, to trick you that they are so powerful that they cannot be stopped. But that's not true. Think about it. They use our tax dollars to sponsor this attack. Keyword, your tax dollars, not theirs. Now let's get into solutions and relief. But before we do that, let me give you the rundown of some of the dirty tactics that the gang stalkers do in order to make targeted individuals realize that this attack is fake, and do not panic and do not fear when they attack you. You would actually like see the foolishness and stupidity in the gang stalkers, as well as the control and the coordinators of the gang stalkers and of the gang stalking attack. Now, here are the key dirty tactics that targeted individuals should be aware of. Well, first of all, they even attack a targeted individual while the targeted individual is in the privacy of his or her house. So basically, they could use directed energy weapons to attack you in your house, and also they could know what you're doing in your house with the sensors and the meters, or with the through the wall radar technology, or they have listening devices either planted in your house or nearby your house or the region nearby your house. And also what the gang stalkers could do is they could do noise campaigns in front of your house. Like people would have staged fake fights in front of your house, or start making noise for no reason, and as soon as you look at your window to see who's there, what they would do is that the car would speed off. Also, when they attack you in the privacy of your house, they have listening devices to listen into your conversations, and then when you walk outside in public, they use a tactic called directed conversation to repeat what you said in the privacy of your house. This would trick a targeted individual into thinking that the gang stalkers are psychic, or they actually could read your mind, but that's not true. They just listening into the privacy of your house. Also, another dirty tactic is that the gang stalkers, they use kids. Yes, they use kids to harass and agitate you. This is how dirty and evil these gang stalkers are. But not just on the perp level. I'm talking about the gang stalkers on the coordination and planning level. Yes, there are gang stalkers who never are on the field to harass and agitate you, but they coordinate and plan the attack on you, and they also receive information about how you react to the attack. So these people do not care about children. They do not care. They even use disabled people too, so they do not care about children and disabled people that they use. And also, the gang stalkers, they would also use another tactic where they will send a perp to be your friend and then to unfriend you. This is to make you give up on relationships. Like, they will play like they're your friend, or if you're a man, they would like send some girl to like pretend she likes you, and then she'll literally dump you. Like, she would actually spend like 6 months with you to make you think, oh, you're in love, and then dump you. And this doesn't just happen to men. It also happens to women. And also, if you're in a relationship with a real genuine person, they might try to destroy and sabotage this relationship. Like, they might actually go to the person that you just met, who's a real person, and then try to sabotage that relationship by harassing or agitating that person, or they'll lie about you to that person. They'll literally follow that person, find out where they live, and have somebody make lies about you to that person. And then when you try to meet up or contact that person, you realize this person doesn't want to make contact with you no more. And if you're deep into the level of gang stalking, you would realize that the gang stalkers are doing this. In the early stages, you would probably wonder why this person don't want to talk to me no more. And that's why with a lot of relationships that the targeted individual have, most of them have been sabotaged. If they were relationships with real genuine people, the gang stalkers will sabotage that relationship. But if it's a relationship with the gang stalkers or the perp, which is designed to fail later on, notice there's no interruptions or sabotage in that relationship. But I'm telling you, targeted individuals, this not to make you paranoid and also give up on relationships in general. Please do not do that. Do not give up your humanity. They want you to isolate yourself. Do not make them isolate you, please. Also, another dirty trick is that the gang stalkers will try to poison your food. From experience, they poison various types of my food, and it will give me an effect of having a sharp, painful headache on one side of my head. They would also poison your food with various poisons or chemicals to give you various adverse effects. It's not just only headaches. This will discourage a targeted individual from eating food. I explained that earlier. Also, the gang stalkers, they could get your family and your friends and your coworkers to turn against you or have them help you. Now, from experience, I've experienced this, but the gang stalkers, they can either lie to your family members and get your family members to be involved in it by making lies and slander about you. So do not confront your family about it, because they could actually trick your family into it. But if your family was genuinely involved in the gang stalking attack, then you have to look at the historical background aspect of the attack when it literally early started. But most of the time, it's the gang stalkers. They're actually like tricking your family into getting involved into the attack. For all you know, they can knock on your door when you're not there and make lies about you and say, we're looking for your son or your daughter, and your son and daughter did something, and that could scare your family. And then they could pretend they're police and say, hey, there's a gag order, you're not supposed to tell this to anybody, or you could go to jail. And that could scare anybody who doesn't really know about the law. So when it comes to the family, they could actually trick your family into being involved in a gang stalking attack. They could either pose like they're police officers and stuff like that. And also, they'll send perps and gang stalkers to your school and your work just to attack you, or they'll have some of your coworkers get involved in the attack. And also, another dirty trick is that the worst one of all is the sleep deprivation. The sleep deprivation makes you more vulnerable to the gang stalking attack. And also, the gang stalkers will follow you by vehicle. Now, another thing that some gang stalkers get, not all of them, is that they have dream manipulation technology. Yes, this is technology. It would seem like a spirit, like they have psychic or voodoo powers, but that's not true. It's just basically dream manipulation technology, and it's based on stimulating certain parts of the brain. Also, the gang stalkers, they will attack every aspect of your life. Remember, every aspect: mind, body, soul, financial, social, and etc. All that. And also, and also with the V2K, those targeted individuals who get directed energy weapons like V2K, they will try to trick you and make you think you're psychic. So do not fall for it. Like, they'll trick you to make you think you're psychic, like you could actually read people, like you could actually read people's thoughts, but that's not true. That's a V2K. And also, they could actually have technology where they could actually simulate people's voice in your life and then use the V2K to beam that into your head. So you could stand next to somebody you know, and they could actually use the V2K to make a curse word in that person's tone of voice, and you would look at that person and actually think that it was that person that cursed you, but really it was the V2K, and they have voice synthesizing technology. And also, they could actually take pre-recordings of someone else's voice and play it back on the V2K to trick a targeted individual into thinking that that person is actually saying those things, but it's not actually true. Now, here are some reliefs for targeted individuals. This would relieve the attack of gang stalking. It's not going to get rid of it, but it would relieve the gang stalking attack itself. Step number 1. Eat healthy. Yes, eating healthy would greatly reduce the effects of the attack of gang stalking. When you eat healthy, eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, and reduce your processed foods, because the processed foods, they put stress on your body, and you also have to deal with the stress from gang stalking attacks. So eat healthy. And also, step number 2, be spiritual. Now, it's not up to me to tell you which spirituality or religion to choose, or any spiritual practices. It's up to you to decide that and to develop your own spiritual, religious, or practical plan to deal with gang stalking on a spiritual and or psychological level. Who am I to tell you this religion or this spirituality is good? That's up to you as a targeted individual to decide that. Now, also try to rationalize the mechanics of the attack and not the attack itself. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, when you try to rationalize the mechanics of the attack and not the attack itself, like when the gang stalkers do this certain type of attack, what is the purpose of this attack? Because certain attacks have certain they want to have certain effects. So basically, when the gang stalkers, say when they do the sleep deprivation attack on you, when you're deprived of sleep, that'll make you more irritable and more prone to the effects of the attack. So basically, the attacks will have a better effect on you when you don't get enough sleep. So understand what certain attacks are trying to do, so that way you could actually reduce the effects of the attack. Because you know when they do this, they're trying to do this. So basically, when somebody kicks you in your leg, they're trying to make you limp. Basically, so now you would position your leg in a position where someone won't kick you or get an opportunity to kick your leg. And that's why I say understand the mechanics of the attack, not the attack itself. Also, step 4, read books. Yes, because reading books is a form of cognitive exercise. And when I mean books, I mean paper books, not a computer screen. Read books. This is a way to keep you your cognitive or your mental process in shape, because gang stalking is a psychological attack. There are many targeted individuals who claim they lost their ability to concentrate because the gang stalking attack constantly is looking for your attention, and the stress could have an effect on your cognitive levels and process. So read books, that way to keep your mind in shape cognitively. And also, if you get faced a fake diagnosis from the psychologist, because most targeted individuals, they would actually get coerced or forced by their job or for some reason to see a psychologist. And if you don't go to see a psychologist, then they could fire you. And if this psychologist diagnose you with a fake illness, because when you try to explain the gang stalking to the psychologist, they'll just dismiss you. They'll dismiss you as a schizophrenic or bipolar or psychosis. So if they falsely diagnose you with one of these illnesses and you lose your job, you could actually apply for Social Security disability or Social Security insurance. Now, there are some targeted individuals who are homeless, and if you are homeless and they falsely diagnose you with a psychological illness, what you can do is apply for Social Security disability and Social Security benefits. And what you can do to make the process more faster is go to the hospital where they gave you the false diagnosis and go to the records department. You have to remember the day that you've seen the psychologist and the day that the psychologist diagnosed you with this false illness, and then you attach it to your application that you're filing for Social Security disability and Social Security insurance. And that way you mail the proof that the doctor diagnosed you with schizophrenia or psychosis, and you attach that to your application when you're applying for Social Security disability or insurance. And also, if you don't have money for food, if you're a homeless targeted individual, please apply for food stamps as well. And I know a lot of targeted individuals will say, well, I'm not trying to be a freeloader. Well, you're not a freeloader. You did not put yourself in this position, but you need to get yourself out of this position. And one of the many steps to get yourself out of this position, if you've been financially exhausted, and you've been falsely diagnosed with a mental illness, is that you could apply for Social Security disability and insurance. So please do not hesitate to do this, and then use that money to get yourself back on your feet. And then once you get yourself back on your feet or get yourself employment, then you could just stop using the Social Security. But because you don't want to be a financial burden to your family, because you can't keep asking your family for money. You are not a freeloader when you sign up for Social Security disability. It's just to get you back on your feet, and then once you get back on your feet, then you could just sign off the Social Security. Now, it's just a suggestion. That's all. Now, another form of relief from gang stalking is to do exercise. Yes, do exercise. Exercise would greatly help you relieve the effects of gang stalking. Now, I'm in no position, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to tell you which forms of physical exercise to do. I mean, you could probably consult a doctor or common sense, develop your own exercise program. Like, for example, you could run, weight lift, or do both. but I'm not telling you how much to do or when to do it. It's up to you to develop a program to how you want to approach the exercise part of gang stalking. Also, go out more. Do not stay inside the house. Because remember, the purpose of gang stalking is to isolate you. So go outside more. When they try to put fear in you to make you stay inside the house, do the opposite. Go outside. Because when you stay in your house, it will be easier to attack you. Because now they can only reduce their attack to noise campaigns in front of your house or directed energy weapons. So go out more. Me, as a targeted individual, I live in New York City. So, you know, I could actually go to the downtown area, get some fresh air, enjoy myself. I don't know about the other targeted individuals who live in other states and cities. That's why I'm telling you, go out more. Do not stay inside the house. Do the opposite. Don't stay inside the house. Go outside, enjoy life. Stop staying inside, stop being scared. That's what they're trying to do. You're helping them win when you stay inside the house. Just take a walk, get some fresh air. Also, record evidence of the attack that is tangible at various locations to show that it's not coincidence. Specifically, get evidence of state and law enforcement vehicles when they do the street data. This could prove that the government, whether it's state, city, federal, or agency, are involved in the gang stalking attack. Now, but here's one thing though: don't get too dedicated to recording the gang stalking attack all day long. Like, don't be that targeted individual that's walking around holding his camera constantly in front of his face every time he goes outside, or all the time. In the early stages, I was like this. Like, I was just walking around with my camera when I didn't when I did not understand the elements of the gang stalking attack. But then I realized what it's trying to do. Now, when you walk around with your camera always pointed around, that can make you look crazy, and that could actually help the gang stalkers get genuine people to be on their side. So that's why I tell you, don't record too much. Like, don't be obsessed with the recording. Like, live your life, but keep a camera in your book bag or stuff like that. So just in case you do need to record something, you could just pull out the camera, but don't be too dedicated to recording. Also, speak respectful to people, because they want you to be scared of society, and after being traumatized for so long, it might affect your manners, your behavior pattern, the way you think, because you would think everyone is a perp or a perpetrator of the gang stalking attack, which is not true. So please do not be scared. Talk to people. Be the initiator of the conversation. That way, you, instead of deciding if this person's a perp or not, you start talking to people, but do not talk to people out of desperation, because one aspect of the gang stalking attack is to isolate you and make you not trust people. So don't be all desperate. Go talking to people like in a desperate state, but just talk to people. Go meet people. You know, just because they want you to isolate yourself, but never out of desperation. Like, because you want to meet people. That's your if that was your natural behavior pattern, and the gang stalkers trick you into thinking that everybody else is your enemy. That's not true. So don't fall for it. Go outside, be respectful, and I'm gonna tell you something else about the relief and solution. Also, another solution is to speak respectful to people, because they want you to be scared of society, and after being traumatized for so long, it might affect your manners, because you think everyone is a perpetrator or a perpetrator of gang stalking attack, which is not true. So basically, go outside, meet people, talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk to people, and please do not talk to people out of desperation or lonely, or because the gang stalkers isolated you, and to some extent you isolated yourself because the purpose made you think that everyone is a perpetrator, which is not true. Go outside, meet people. You know, I hear some targeted individuals say, oh, they don't want you to have a girlfriend, they don't want you to have friends, they don't want you to have a relationship. That's not true. Go outside, talk to people, meet people, but not out of desperation. Don't appear desperate, like, oh, I need to talk to somebody so bad. No, like, go meet people, because that way, if you're the initiator of the conversation, you don't have to decide if that person's a perpetrator or not. You see that? But because sometimes the gang stalkers, they might send people to befriend you, so be aware of that. But at the same time, Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to meet new people. And also, if they trick you into make you thinking that some of your family members are involved in it, that's not true. So try to build bonds with family members and stuff like that. You know, I'm not saying, like, there are some instances where some family members might generally be involved in the gang stalking attack, or they might be tricked into the gang stalking attack. But, you know, try to repair relationships as much as you can, you know, to the extent. That's up to you to decide that. And, you know, I suggest you do that, but it's up to you though. So, you know, go outside, meet people. And another thing about that, don't go telling everybody that, you know, you're being gang stalked. Because some people, especially like the police, if you go to the police to tell them, hey, they're gang stalking me, they're doing this and that, you know, V2K, they might think you're crazy and they might report you. So you don't have to go tell everybody about this gang stalking attack. But can you bring awareness to the gang stalking attack? Yes, you can, but do it in a rational manner. Like, you know, tell people about stalking and military technologies that exist. Some things that you could prove, but don't go telling them, oh, you know, V2K, they poisoning all this stuff. You know, and you telling them this in a dramatic fashion, which might make you appear crazy. You know, live your life, go talk, meet people, but at the same time bring awareness to gang stalking. Tell your story on the internet, bring awareness. You know, write letters to your Congress people, but don't go telling people out of, you know, an emotional state or desperation. Also, with the family members, I want targeted individuals to take into consideration that some of the gang stalkers, they might actually target your family members or friends and family to some extent. Like, they might actually V2K or harass, street theater, and gang stalk some of your family members and friends into gang stalking you or to keep it away from you. So that's why do not be so mean and harsh on your family members if they give hints that they are involved in the gang stalking attack, because they could actually be coerced into the gang stalking attack, because they could be harassed and street harassed, and also they could but not to the level that they're gang stalking and street harassing you. You see how that works? And so some people could actually be coerced to attack you, to attack you in the gang stalking attack. So that's why take that into consideration, and please be humane and humble to your family members, despite the fact if they're involved in the gang stalking attack, and your friends too. So and don't confront them on it to some extent, because, you know, if they're genuinely involved in the attack, they'll just play dumb, like they don't notice it. And if they're coerced into the attack, I mean, sometimes the gang stalkers could pose as police, or actually send police, or even you know, federal agents could be involved in it, and they could give them gag orders, you know, scare them and say if they reveal anything about it, they could go to jail, which most of the time it isn't true. So do not be so harsh on them. Remember, these people, your family members, are not on the higher level. If they're involved in it in any shape or form, or been forced into the gang stalking attack, they're not involved in it on the level that the real gang stalkers who operate the gang stalking program on a control, command, and planning level. These people, they're in government, federal agencies, or third-party corporations that get paid and financed by your government. So, like the low-level perps in the street, they don't know about the gang stalking program on a higher level. And so that also includes your family and friends. They don't know about the V2K, they don't know about the covert drugging or anything like that. So don't be harsh on anybody on the street level. They want you to fight and hit people on the street level, but at the end of the day, which are the perps, but at the end of the day, these people are not coordinating, they're not planning, they're not the ones who are deciding which phase to switch the gang stalking program to more aggressive, or just keep it on the stalking level. The people who are on the gang stalking level, where it comes to the planning and coordination and the execution on the higher level, like, think about it. That same perp on the street level, when you're being harassed by planes, when you have a plane following you, do you think it's actually your family member, your neighbor, or that low-level perp flying that plane? No, it's someone in the federal agency or the military or the civil air patrol that's doing it. So this gang stalking program, at the end of the day, is coming from your government, military, federal, and state. So that's not that low-level perp flying that plane using that V2K technology. Someone with military knowledge is. Also, stay positive Do not stay negative. I understand the gang stalking attack is constant. When you walk outside your house, there's already perpetrators ready to attack you. When you go to your favorite place or store, they have gang stalkers posted up there. They want you to stay negative, and they enjoy having you stay negative. And I'm not talking about the perps on a street level. I'm talking about the gang stalkers on a control and command level. Yes, the street level perpetrators, all they do is just relay the information back to the gang stalkers on a command and control level, which are on a federal government and even military level. So please stay positive, stay confident. When you walk on the street, walk with confidence. Don't walk in fear. Do not look back when the gang stalkers try to get your attention. They want you to get they want your attention. That's why. And when you don't look behind, remember, there are perps. They surround you. They surround you on the street level. There might be some perps in the back, and there might be some perps even in the front, and even to your side, and they form a perimeter around you. And with that, stay confident. When the perpetrators who are behind you try to harass you verbally, do not look back. And when they see you not looking back, they might actually increase the verbal and psychological harassment and abuse even more. Remember, stay positive. There are mental and spiritual exercises to stay positive. That's up to you to decide and research which exercises to do. And if you're already doing any, hey, that's good. Do it even more. And also, with the thing about it is, the perpetrators, they enjoy keeping you in a negative state. And also, the perpetrators cannot kill you. They might try to slowly kill you, but at the end of the day, think about it. For years and years and years, they've been threatening you, saying they're going to kill you, saying they're going to do this, saying they're going to ruin your life. But you're still here. It's to keep you in constant fear. The fear of death is unavoidable. That's one thing that targeted individuals have to realize. Like, whether or not you're being gang stalked, one day you're going to die. Do not worry about this gang stalking attack. I do not plan on worrying about or dodging this gang stalking attack for the next 90 years or 40 years or however long I live. So you can stop this gang stalking attack. They're trying to keep you they're trying to keep you in a state of fear. And one thing you got to understand is that fear is the easiest way to control somebody. So be confident, be positive. And at the same time, these gang stalkers, they're also analyzing your behavior and your thinking patterns. They're not just doing surveillance on your physical and where you are based on location. They're also doing surveillance on your behavior and your psychological process. They might do some street data to test where you are psychologically. They might send a perp to befriend you or have small conversation with you to see where your behavior patterns and your psychological state is. And to some targeted individuals, one sign that the gang stalking attack isn't working is when the gang stalkers actually increase the magnitude of the gang stalking attack. So that's one way for a targeted individual to know that the gang stalkers, their attack isn't working, when they increase the magnitude of the attack, which means they have to go harder or aggressive. And it's not the gang stalkers on a street level that decide to increase the attack. These street level perpetrators, they relay the information back to their supervisors or the command and control level of the gang stalking program, and then those commanders tell them to increase the attack. You see how that works? So when they increase the magnitude of their attack, the gang stalkers, that goes to show you that their attack isn't working on you. And as a targeted individual who've been being gang stalked for so long, you would actually realize this. Also, when the aggressive tactics aren't working, what they might actually do is try to deprive you of more sleep. When you ignore them real hard, when you go outside in the street, when they try to do their street data or street harassment, and when you ignore them real hard and it doesn't work, they might actually try to deprive you of sleep and use the V2K even more. And also, if those aggressive tactics don't work, they might try to tell you what you want to hear through directed conversation. Like, say if you like hamburgers, one of the perps might stand nearby and start talking about hamburgers. You see how that works? So do not fall for their tricks. Or they might use their soft tactics, like try to send the perpetrator to friend and unfriend you. So please stay confident, targeted individuals. They enjoy that. Matter of fact, they probably feed on that, because that goes to show that their control is working. When they constantly see you in a state of fear or in a state of agony and depression. So stay positive and motivated for you, not for the gang stalkers, for you, and as well as those people who love and care about you. Also, for targeted individuals, I want you to realize you are loved. Yes, don't let the gang stalkers trick you into making you think that nobody likes you. Remember, they're using street theater and psychological warfare and tactics to control your attitude and your beliefs and even your behaviors through psychological abuse and warfare. This is military level psychological warfare they're using on you. At the end of the day, you are loved. Someone loves you. Remember, love yourself. Your family loves you. Even the family members that have been tricked into the gang stalking attack, yes, they do love you. And also, there are people who you don't know, but if they got to know you, they will love you. So don't let the gang stalkers trick you into into believing that you are not loved. You are loved. So remember, they're using their psychological warfare into tricking you that nobody likes you or society is against you. And here's one tactic they use that I forgot to realize, that I forgot to explain to you, that the gang stalkers use in order to trick you that people or society are against you. Now, when you're walking down the street, if you're walking by foot, there are perps who post up on the street in advance where you're heading to down the road in the later on in the future. And they also have perps in a car. So this car is circling around, and also the people in this car, they could get out and set up on a block that they know you're going to be on, and then act like they're part of the people walking down the street, but really they got out of a parked car and set up the street where they know you're going to be, and they're acting like they're walking down the street, but the reality is they got out this parked car and set up a street theater or a psychological operation to make you think they're genuine people walking down the street, and they might actually trick you and say, oh, this guy's this and that. And now they trick you into making you think that the people and society are against you, but the reality of the situation is that they were perps who got out of their car to set up a street theater to pretend that they're genuine people on the street. Because think about it. How would somebody you never know or seen say something bad about you, or say something that the perpetrators of gang stalking condition you to believe? So let me repeat that again, because a lot of targeted individuals, they don't rationalize the attack, they respond to it emotionally. But when you respond to it in a rational manner, it's not going to have any effect on you anymore like it used to, because you will notice the patterns of the attack. And one thing that I want targeted individuals to realize is that, think about it, this person you never seen before or you never heard of, this person you never seen, all of a sudden says something that the gang stalkers sensitize you to, or says something that, or they say something in your personal life that only you know, and this person you never seen before. So obviously that's the street theater, and that's the gang stalking harassment. So that's how you rationalize the gang stalking attack, and it's not going to have an effect on you. Because from experience of the gang stalking attack, I was walking down Manhattan, and when I was walking down Manhattan, this person I never seen or never heard of before does one of the tactics that the gang stalkers sensitize me to. And in the early stages, yes, I'm not gonna lie, I reacted to it in an adverse way. But then I realized, wait a minute, I never seen this person, I don't know this person, but this person actually did the tactics that the gang stalkers did. So basically, either this was a perp who set up on the street and knew I was walking down the street, I was heading in this direction. He set up his street theater in advance to scare me. See? So these are not real genuine people. Or what they might do is get a real genuine person to do the street theater or say something they sensitize you to. So now, and the real gang stalker gives this genuine real person the hand signal. Like, the perpetrators of the gang stalking attack will be like, okay, when I give you this hand signal, you start saying this. And so as you pass by, the real gang stalker gives this genuine person the hand signal, and then this genuine person does what the gang stalker sensitized you to, and now you think this genuine person is a perpetrator, but in reality they're not. You see how that works? So they're trying to distort your psychology and make you think that everybody in society is a part of the gang stalking attack. But the reality is that's not true. So please stay positive. Also, another solution is to save money. Yes, save your money, because one thing about the gang stalking attack is that they're trying to financially exhaust you or financially deplete you. So save your money. Stop buying nonsense stuff. I'm not saying, once in a while, but please save your money as much as you can. And also, some of the gang stalkers, they might threaten you to say they might tamper with your bank account and they might steal your money electronically through your bank account. From experience, they said that to me, but so far my money has not been tampered with. Have they tried to financially exhaust me? Yes. That's why I said for targeted individuals, if you received any psychological pain or damage from the gang stalking attack and you're unemployed, you could actually apply for Social Security, disability, and benefits. And also, if you've been falsely diagnosed with a psychological illness, which is a false diagnosis, because the gang stalkers use this tactic called psychological reprisal, and you're unemployed, or you're going to end up being homeless, then I suggest you apply for Social Security, disability, and insurance. But on another financial aspect of the gang stalking attack, save your money and buy what you need, and be wise with your money at the end of the day. And and if you have a job, they're gonna try to harass you at your job, and they could actually have other genuine people who work at that job to participate in the harassment. So please, I'm going to tell targeted individuals to do this one thing, and that is, do not record anything at your job. Yes, I know it sounds kind of strange, but when you're at work, do not record any evidence of you being gang stalked, because the other workers can report you, and then your supervisor might force you to take a psychological, evaluation at work. And if you don't take it, then you could be fired. So any gang stalking attacks that happen at work, I need you targeted individuals to ignore it very hard. And another tactic the gang stalkers might use is that they might actually get your boss or your supervisor to try to belittle you in order to trick you into thinking that you're not doing your job, but the reality is you are doing your job. And do not let the gang stalking get into affecting your work performance. Again, do not let the gang stalking attack get into affecting your work performance. So you have to ignore the gang stalking attack very hard at work. Remember, your priority at your job is to make money so you can keep a roof over your head, especially if you're a targeted individual and you have children. That's one tactic the gang stalkers would do. Like, they don't care about the fact that you have children, and if you have a job, they're still gang stalking you at work, despite the fact they do not take consideration into the fact that you have children and you have mouths to feed, and even if you have family members and you have to take care of them financially too. So please think about that. If you feel like you're being harassed at work, think about it. I have a family to feed, or I have children to feed, or I have myself to feed. So keep your job, ignore the gang stalking attack hard as possible at work, because you still have a job. And as a targeted individual, it's rare that you see some targeted individuals that are still employed and are still working, because they will harass you hard at your job. So please ignore the attack very, very, very hard, because remember, you're trying to keep this money in your pocket. And also think about the other targeted individuals who are homeless. They're trying to make you end up homeless, so at least think about them. Also, another form of relief and solution is trying to get back to your natural state, your natural personality, which was confident, joyful, and move with a purpose. Now, I can understand with the gang stalking attack, the purpose of the gang stalking attack is to control you, and they will try to make you cold, depressed, lonely, and all other negative attributes. So get back to your natural state, your natural behavior, and your natural personality. Now I understand the gang stalking attack is going to make you a more cautious person, which is okay to be cautious naturally, but do not let it make you cold, and do not let this gang stalking attack compromise your humanity or your morality. Remember, these gang stalkers, they have a compromised humanity and a compromised morality. They're the real evil ones. They're the real cold one, not you. So please, you have to deprogram yourself. Yeah, I could understand the gang stalkers. Yeah, they sensitize you to certain things, and they use psychological conditioning against your will to psychologically program you to make certain stimuli in your environment have an adverse effect on your psychology. Yes, I understand that. So I need you to deprogram yourself, and you could deprogram yourself with spiritual, mental exercises, practices, or beliefs. That's up to you to do the research, because spirituality and religion, everybody has the right to spirituality and religion. So it's up to you to do the research to how to improve yourself spiritually and mentally, and also deprogram yourself. Yes, you can deprogram yourself. The same way the gang stalkers are constantly psychologically attacking you to make you negative and depressed, you could constantly psychologically and spiritually reprogram yourself with positivity. And you could do this every day. So now every day you're constantly psychologically and spiritually, as well as physically, programming yourself in a positive way. So your positivity, so you're using positivity to program yourself every day, constantly. So the same way the gang stalkers, they're constantly using negative reinforcement or negative psychology to reinforce fear into you. You could use positive psychology and spirituality to reinforce positivity in you. So be positive. So deprogram yourself from this negative, evil gang stalking program. It can be done. Now, how can we stop gang stalking? Yes, a lot of targeted individuals believe that gang stalking cannot be stopped, but that's not true. Remember, gang stalking, a lot of information about gang stalking, guess who puts out the information? Yes, the enemy itself. Those perpetrators of the gang stalking attack, they put out a lot of misinformation and a lot of disinformation. And also, one component of this disinformation is to make the targeted individual believe that gang stalking cannot be stopped on a legal level, a spiritual level, a mental level, and all other levels. Gang stalking, it can be stopped. That's the greatest trick the gang stalkers used. Gang stalking can be stopped. And also, for real, genuine targeted individuals, I want you to know that there are also fake targeted individuals on the internet, and this is a product of the perpetrators of the gang stalking attack. There are fake perpetrators on YouTube and social media and on the internet, and some of them would actually put out fake information, or they will give you a little truth and a lot of lies. There's so much disinformation on this gang stalking attack, and some targeted individuals, the genuine ones, the first information they see, they will think, okay, this is the reason for the gang stalking attack. But you have to do research on it, and at the end of the day, it's the government who's behind the gang stalking attack. And yes, there are things like abuse by proxy, and there could be such things as ambient abuse. But at the end of the day, when you're abuse by proxy means that someone who sanctioned the abuse have somebody else to do it. So basically, gang stalking to some extent can be abused by proxy, because if the government is behind the gang stalking attack, someone on a low level probably had to report you as like a terrorist or threat, and then these federal or government agencies look into it. You see how that works? And also, but first, let me get into how can we stop the gang stalking attack. One way we can stop the gang stalking attack is to tell your story the best you can. You can post a video on social media about your experience from the gang stalking attack, because right now gang stalking is having some presence in the media. But at the end of the day, targeted individuals have to realize that the media is not our friend. The media will try to discredit us. Remember, the media is on the side of the government, who is the sponsor financially and resourceful and resource based when it comes to the gang stalking attack. So we have to form our own media. post a video on YouTube explaining your gang stalking experience. And also another suggestion is that targeted individuals also post a separate video about factual information on the gang stalking attack, as well as tips and solutions to relieve or stop the gang stalking attack. So put your experience on video and YouTube as well as your evidence to some extent, because the more people who are posting their videos about gang stalking, that's how we know that this gang stalking attack is not coincidence, or it's not just individuals having psychological attacks. This gang stalking attack is real. All of a sudden, targeted individuals from Arizona are experiencing the same thing that targeted individuals in Texas and New York are. The same thing. What a coincidence. And we never met each other. So please post your video up. And also, I started to notice on YouTube that there are some people who are putting up videos that are titled gang stalking, but have nothing to do with gang stalking. And some of these are phony targeted individuals who would post intentionally. They'll post up nonsense. So now real, genuine targeted individuals will look like nonsense. So looking for genuine targeted individuals, it's up to you to decide who's real and who's fake. It's like, so you have to sort through the mud. Also, here's another suggestion, keyword suggestion, to stop the gang stalking attack. Every targeted individual should reach out to another targeted individual, despite the fact that there are many fake targeted individuals. Now, I know there are some targeted individuals who are scared to reach out to other TIs because they realize there are fake ones. But let me tell you something about this. In the military, for example, you think there aren't spies that literally go into our military and relay information back to the enemy? Yes or no? Okay, but still, for the fact that there are spies or people who are posing as genuine people in the military but are really spies, did the military say, okay, we're not going to have a military anymore because there are fake people in the military? No. I'm sure they have programs to weed out the spies and stuff. Now, they might weed out 90% of the spies, but not all. But still, that's not a reason for them to be like, let's dismantle the military now because we have spies. No. So the same thing should apply to the targeted individual community. Yes, we're going to have fake people. We're even going to have spies. We're going to have agent provocateurs and people who try to sabotage targeted individual groups. But still, that's not a reason for targeted individuals not to link up together and meet with each other. And I suggest that each targeted individual link up with another targeted individual in their nearby area, and also link up and reach out to another targeted individual that's live very far and distant away from them, and try to contact them through email or social media and Skype and stuff. So just because there are fake targeted individuals doesn't mean targeted individuals should not link up and communicate to each other. And this link up and communication should be to help each other out, and also spread information and probably new tips to stop gang stalking. Because think about it, the targeted individuals, the only reason why it probably is not stopping because we're not linking up to form a force that could go up against those who perpetrate gang stalking. Because just imagine if we have like a united front, a large group of targeted individuals trying to bring awareness, our voice would be heard, and then we could take action. You see that? But since we like to keep to ourselves, well, not to some extent, because the gang stalking attack, the purpose of the gang stalking attack is to isolate you, but still, you are obligated to some extent to reach out to other targeted individuals, unless you want to suffer alone by yourself. So please reach out to other targeted individuals. Yes, there are fake ones, but still, try to reach out and sort out through the mud who are the fake ones, who are the real ones. Also, don't let the gang stalkers put you down or make you feel down. That's the key to control. If the gang stalkers call you a loser, then why do they have a team of people following you and they use government resources that are focused on you? So basically, you must be someone very important, not to the gang stalkers, but to the government or the real people behind the gang stalking attack. You are a very important person, and you are a threat to them, but not in a way like you're going to do something evil. You're a threat because you expose the truth or you live truthfully, or you're a person that you would actually take action to make stuff happen into your life. You're not one of those people who are going to wait for something to happen. And to the government, that's actually the greatest threat. An autonomous person, a person who takes action to make stuff happen in their life. So at the end of the day, the gang stalkers, they're the real losers, and the people who control and sponsor the gang stalking, which are the government, they're the real losers, and they'll trick you into make you thinking you're a loser. But the reality of the situation is, then they have a team of losers. Like, they're the real weak ones. Think about it. They have like sometimes 10, 15, or even 7 people following you. So it takes 7 people to take down one person. Well, they didn't take you down yet because you're still here. You're still living life. You're still kicking hard. So it takes 7, 10, 20, or even in some rare cases, 100 or 70 of them to team up together to take you down. So who's really the weak one? Ask yourself that, targeted individuals. Also, targeted individuals have to understand that these gang stalkers, they're not going to leave you alone even when you change location to avoid them. They'll just go there and harass you there too. So do not waste your money moving. Do not move out of fear. Now, if you want to move because, hey, this is probably a better job option, or you want to move for a positive reason, a reason that's not dependent on the gang stalking reason, then hey, you can move. If you want to change your life for the better and you want to move, yes. But do not move because for the gang stalkers, or do not move for fear, out of fear. Do not move out of fear. The gang stalkers, they're not going to leave you alone. They're going to follow you, and then they're going to say you're the troublemaker and you're looking for trouble, but nobody told the gang stalkers, hey, follow me. I mean, they're willingly choosing to follow you for the sole purpose to harass you, and then they'll trick other people like you're the troublemaker and you're looking for trouble, but they're the ones following you. So do not fall for this trick. Live your life and stand your ground. Don't give up anything. If you're in school and they're harassing you, stand your ground, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to live my life. Do not run out of fear. Stand your ground. Now, I didn't say fight or look for trouble, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to fight and hit them and look for trouble. Unless they hit you in self-defense, you could actually defend yourself, but my best option is to walk away. So please, targeted individuals, live your life, stand your ground, do not run. They'll try to scare you to run out of fear. Do not. Please. Don't let these people are cowards. Stand your ground. Hold firm to your ground, because a lot of targeted individuals, what they'll do, they'll move out of fear. Because at the end of the day, the gang stalkers, everywhere you go, they're going to go. So what? You're going to be scared to go to the supermarket now? You're going to be scared to live your life now because they're going to be there? No, stand your ground. Live your life. Never do anything out of fear. Do everything out of prosperity and courage. Yes, targeted individuals, I'm talking to you. Get that artificial spirit of fear out of you. Live your life. Because some of you targeted individuals, y'all are religious or very spiritual, but at the same time, y'all display a state of fear as if you're not spiritual. So please, these gang stalkers, they're very weak and they're cowardice. They have no joy or no happiness in their life, and they're trying to project that into you because they're trying to alter your behavior. So please live your life. How many times do I have to repeat that to you, targeted individuals? Now, this is the end of the gang stalking documentary. I hope you targeted individuals, as well as people who do not know of gang stalking, learned a lot about this gang stalking attack, as well as solutions to relieve this attack. Also, what me as a targeted individual learned is that this gang stalking program, it taught me a lot about my government, and it shows me how the government has a very evil component to it. Yes, the government, there are some aspects and people in the government who are very evil. I'm not going to say everybody who works in the government is evil. And there are also corporations who get paid to do the gang stalking, third-party groups. Yes, like there are third-party groups like InfoGuard and many which I can't name. I could name them, but I don't want to name them. A lot of people are making money off this gang stalking attack. There are private intelligent corporations that make money off this gang stalking attack, and they've been contracted by federal intelligence agencies. Like a lot of intelligence work for the U.S. government have been outsourced to these third-party groups. So they're making a lot of money off you targeted individuals. Also, it goes to show me how the government is very evil, because the government is quick to point out atrocities in other countries, saying these country governments are doing atrocities to other people in other countries, but you have the government in America doing these covert evil stuff to other Americans. Remember, the people who are doing this gang stalking attack, they're not from another country or another government. This is your United States government conducting these illegal attacks on the American people. So how evil is that? You could point evil out in other countries, but in your country, you're doing evil, the same evil on a covert level to other Americans. So this attack is very evil, and it also goes to show me that the criminal justice system, or the judicial system, is very weak and evil as well. Because say if a targeted individual literally did something evil, okay, so use due process, taking me to court, arrest me. So that goes to show you that even your government doesn't have faith in its own judicial system, that they will use these covert evil tactics to try to create terrorism by trying to agitate and harass innocent people in order to provoke them and agitate them to do something, and then they will arrest them, and they will use plausible deniability to say, hey, we didn't know we were attacking these people, but you were evil government. You were attacking these people covertly, and you were agitating them. Think about it, constantly being harassed and agitated day after day after day. That could alter somebody's behavior and personality, and then now you create this criminal to attack. So this program is very evil. There's nothing good about it, and it's coming from your government. So it goes to show me, as well as other targeted individuals, that this gang stalking program is very evil, and there are certain aspects of the government that are evil. And for money, a lot of people will do anything for money. My closing note on gang stalking, well, let me talk to the targeted individuals. Yes, here's one thing I want you to do. Stop calling yourself targeted individual. Yes, you are being targeted. Yes, you are. But do not take the title of a targeted individual. Yes, you are being targeted by your government through third-party proxies and groups, as well as other government agencies. But I want you to live your life. Yes, live your life, targeted individual. Some of you people who are being targeted, you have children, you have families you have to feed. These gang stalkers do not take that into consideration. I hear some people who are being targeted, they pray for their gang stalkers. Well, it's up to you how you approach your gang stalkers or what you think about them. But me, I don't have no humanity for those who are gang stalking. And I don't mean the gang stalkers on the street level, like the low level street stalkers, like the people who do not know. They just get paid and instructed to do certain stuff, but they don't know the deeper level of it. To some extent, I don't feel sorry for them in some shape or form, but the people who coordinate and plan this gang stalking attack, like they're probably sitting in a safe location and they're coordinating and planning this attack. I do not feel sorry for you in any shape or form. You do not deserve humanity, because I'm sure these people on the higher level of gang stalking, they probably have their families too, but they're not taking into consideration about the people who they're targeting, that they have families. These people, they ruin people's families, and they go home to their families. So that's very evil. So anybody on this gang stalking level who are involved in the gang stalking and they know about it, specifically the people who are in the control and command aspect of the gang stalking program, I do not feel sorry for you. You do not deserve humanity, because you compromise your humanity by doing evil things to innocent people. I have no humanity for you, and I also hope somebody you love and care about get gang stalked as well. So now you could realize the same evil you project to somebody, it's projected to somebody you care and love about, and you would recognize the symptoms of it more faster, because you are involved in the gang stalking program. And a lot of targeted individuals might think, oh, I'm an evil person for saying that. But at the end of the day, these gang stalkers, you're not the first person they gang stalked. Like there are some people who've been targeted and they actually died. Yes, not every targeted individual makes that Myron Mays or Aaron Alexis level where they story gets on the news. There are some targeted individuals who die quietly, and some of these targeted individuals, they die quietly because they've been poisoned, or they've been microwaved for 10 and 20 years, and then they develop cancer, and they think the cancer is because of some natural cause, but the cancer is probably from some radiation or the covert drugging. And then there are some targeted individuals who are in a mental institution, not because they were really crazy, because the gang stalkers made them crazy by constantly harassing and attacking them. And then there are some targeted individuals who are homeless. So not every targeted individual, if their story comes out in a negative fashion, they're not going to be an Aaron Alexis or Myron Mays. They're just going to quietly die out. And the gang stalkers will enjoy this. To them, it's a mission complete. To them, it's another paycheck. They don't see you as a human being. So these gang stalkers, whether on the higher level or lower level, do not deserve humanity. But still, for those who are being targeted, conduct yourself in a humane and respectful level. Not for the gang stalkers, but for yourself, because you love yourself, and because you love your family, and you love your children, or you love your wife, or whatever. These gang stalkers do not deserve humanity. And yes, gang stalking will be stopped, and you can't fight gang stalking legally. But when that day comes out, when the government reveals that they do conduct gang stalking, I fear that they might do gang stalking might actually be considered legal now, once they reveal that that the government has been doing gang stalking. But gang stalking can be stopped, and it will be stopped, and it's up to the targeted individuals to stop it, not the government to stop it, but the targeted individuals to stop it. So with that being said, targeted individuals, I want you to look within yourself and move with a purpose. Move to make your life better, because you cannot make someone else's life better without making your life better. So please, and to the targeted individuals with children, those who have children, please, I know, because they might try to make you go crazy, so now you could lose your children, and the child welfare services can take your children. So please remain calm and rational. Not just targeted individuals with children, but any targeted individual as well. They want you to lose everything you work hard for in life. Do not give them another opportunity to do such, or even give them the targeted, or give the gang stalkers the opportunity to take what you work so hard for in life. Remember, live life, enjoy life. I love you, and I'm saying this all out of love, and this is not no fake BS. I really love every targeted individual, and we have to work together. Live your life, enjoy life. And to close off, I love all the targeted individuals as well as humanity. Live life, prosper. Signing off. Oh yeah, I forgot. Here's my email address for any targeted individual to contact me. Yes, only targeted individuals. If you have any questions about the gang stalking attack, or any way, or if you have questions about solutions and reliefs to the gang stalking attack, then please contact me at this email. Now, when you contact me from email, I want you to use your real government name. Like on the letter, when you email me, put your real name and the state that you live in. That's all. I don't need your street address. I don't need to know what city you live in. Just your name and the state that you live in. And also, I need you to when you contact me on email, I need you to make the questions not very long, and I don't need to really know your life story. Now you could give me a brief description of your attack, but I don't need anything that's very long. And when you ask the questions, make the questions short and brief. I would only allow you to ask 5 questions. And please give me some time to respond to your questions. I'm not gonna if you email me one day, I probably might respond to you in 3 or 4 days. I'm not going to respond to you exactly the same day you email me. but I will contact you. So please, and oh yeah, and any targeted individual, if you feel so hopeless that you might feel you might do something like suicide or anything stupid or violent, please contact me. I do not want you to do anything stupid like suicide or anything violent. If you feel you're going to do something, if you feel you're going to do something like that, then please contact me. Contact me. But I don't want you to do anything stupid. Your life is valuable. Please don't let these cowards trick you into thinking that your life is not valuable. Contact me as soon as possible, and I will contact you as soon as possible too. But please do not do anything stupid.